I think that people are really hung up about the fact that there aren't any peer-reviewed studies that tell you whether Cocomelon is actually bad for your kids. But child development specialist Jerica Sands has said that it is okay to rely on anecdotal evidence to tell us that Cocomelon is indeed a problem. Hey everybody, welcome back to the couch. I'm Melissa and this is Couch Mom Club. On my channel, you'll find tips and tricks to help moms get off the couch and into life. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about the problem with Cocomelon. A few months ago, I posted a video about Cocomelon. I uncovered a few issues that I found with the show, and you guys gave me some really good feedback. And now I want to go a little bit deeper. The show Cocomelon, I still feel is a problem for our kids, and I think that we should stop watching it. Just like I anticipated, there were so many people that supported the show. They said that there was nothing wrong with it. Likewise, there were people that found the information pretty interesting, and other people agreed wholeheartedly that Cocomelon was indeed bad for your kids. My opinion before I ever started doing any research about the show was that I simply didn't like Cocomelon. I thought Cocomelon was a problem, not because I've seen it before and there were things that I didn't like about it, but just based on seeing just my first impression. I didn't like it. It looked creepy. And I said my kids would never watch this show. Now in my house, we do use screens, but we don't use them as a means to quiet our kids or for them to be pacified while I'm able to get some things done. Now I agree that screens can keep your kids really quiet and keep them occupied. But for us, we use screens more as a tool for parenting. We use them to engage with our children, to learn with our kids, and to watch things that are also entertaining for our kids. But the thing about it is that because I am also engaged with what they're doing on their screens and what they're watching, I feel that it is important that I enjoy the content as well. Now, Cocomelon did not make the cut. I, right off the bat, decided that I didn't want to watch that. I wasn't interested, and my kids would not be watching that, and that was just my judgment call. And then I saw this video. This video really piqued my interest, and I saw many more videos just like it. So many parents were posting similar videos that showed their children running when they heard the sound of Cocomelon, and then I was very intrigued. I started to think maybe there was something a little bit more to this show. Maybe it wasn't just that I didn't like it. Maybe Cocomelon really is a problem. When I finally started to do some research, I noticed so many different opinions on what Cocomelon was. Was it good? Was it harmful? Was it not? There were so many people covering the topic, and so much interesting information came out of my research. Not everybody that I took feedback from were saying that the show was problematic. Some people in fact said that there is no clear evidence to determine whether or not Cocomelon was a problem. While other people like Jerica Sands, they found that Cocomelon was indeed problematic. Some even said that the show acts like a drug to the kids and can stimulate and overstimulate the kids when they are watching it. It is important to note that not every child is going to experience the same things from watching the show. One child can watch the show day in and day out and experience none of the symptoms, while another child can watch 1 or 2 episodes and experience all the developmental delays, as I will discuss in this video. Either way, you can take this information and do with it what you will. If you want to watch the show or if you want to have your children watch the show, it is completely up to you. So based on my own research and anecdotal evidence, I have found 3 major delays that watching Cocomelon can cause. The first developmental delay is in the child's ability to self-regulate. If you think of Cocomelon like a drug for children, then you could also make the connection between how the behavior changes once they are denied access to the show. So if you're telling them the show has to be turned off or that they're no longer able to watch it, you're gonna notice things like temper tantrums, you're gonna notice a spike in the crankiness and in the inability to self-regulate. This is similar to when a drug addict cannot get the drug of choice or they are experiencing withdrawals from that drug. You're gonna notice irrational behavior. You're gonna see that they're going to have the inability to really self-regulate. And this is a problem that we're seeing in our children. As soon as you say no more Cocomelon, the tears start, the tantrums start, the crankiness starts, and the list goes on. The second developmental delay that Cocomelon can cause is the delay in speech. While we can argue that the content is directed for kids, the nursery rhymes and the songs are all written for the educational purposes of the children. And I do agree that the content itself, what they are promoting, is good information. However, children at the stage when they're watching Cocomelon are not actually paying attention to what is being said. Rather, they're more focused on how that information is presented. So here you're gonna imagine the bright colors, the music, the sound effects, the fact that the screen changes every 2 seconds when normally screens change about every 4 seconds, and all of that is happening simultaneously. The child is being overstimulated, and what is actually happening is that instead of the child singing along or, rehearsing the lessons in the show, like say please, say thank you, say sorry, things like that, they are just mesmerized by what is happening. All of the different senses that are being stimulated in the moment of watching, and it actually causes them to become nonverbal. So instead of singing along and participating in the lessons and the educational content of the show, they are just sitting there completely tuned in, just in a trance almost, watching as the screen changes, as the colors flash, as the songs are being sung, the music notes are being hit, and the sound effects are all happening. And it's just like flickers of light in that child's brain, and instead of the information going in and then being able to regurgitate and recite it, they're just caught in a trance, not able to move, not able to talk, and cannot even be drawn away from the screen. The last delay that I want to talk about is the fact that children are delayed in their creativity and their ability to play. Now, even though the show is so hyper-stimulating and, all your senses are being engaged all at once, a child's creativity is pretty much put on pause. Now, I know that somebody might argue that once you're watching TV, you're not really doing anything else, but I want to beg to differ, because I've seen my children engage in a television show, and while they're watching it, they're playing and reenacting, they're singing along, and they're doing other things that will show that the information that they're getting from the show is actually being translated into knowledge. They're putting to use what they're hearing, and they're able to even recite some of the things that they're hearing. They also ask questions about what they're hearing, and this is where engaging with your child while they're watching TV is so important. Now, I know my kids are not being mesmerized by the shows that we do permit them to watch, because they're still present in the room. They're still interacting with me, interacting with each other, and interacting with what is happening on the television. Now, they're able to also be creative in these spaces and make believe, and even turn things in our living room or in the space that we're in into creative forms of expression. And it's interesting to see how they relate to the world around them, even when they are engaged with a screen. Kids who are watching Cocomelon, it is quite different. Parents have said that when their child is watching Cocomelon, if you're calling their name and calling it more than once, that child will not respond. That child is so locked in and so fixated on what is happening on that screen that nothing else in the world matters. Now, until you turn it off, then you see the spike in behavior and the temper tantrums and all of that. But while that TV is on, that kid is zoned in, which eliminates any possibility of play or creativity. Now, when you say things like, my child watched Cocomelon all the time and there's nothing wrong with her, or things like, they play Cocomelon in daycares across the board, it can't possibly be that bad. Those are not strong enough arguments to me. I know that your child could watch it and have no effects, is not displaying any of the things that I'm talking about, and could be perfectly fine. And it could still be true that daycares are playing it. But is that enough to really dismiss the other claims that other parents are actually finding that their children are altered from watching this? There is enough anecdotal evidence that will show you that even if you don't stop watching the show, you should at least start asking some questions and start to become a little bit more aware of what you're actually allowing your children to watch. Now, if you're one of those people who absolutely needs a peer-reviewed study on the topic. I get it. You want that concrete information before you believe it or not. I totally understand. And I believe that it's only a matter of time before something like this becomes available. This whole topic of Cocomelon being bad for your kids and being problematic for their behavior, for their development, is fairly new. And I think that people are starting to catch on. It's only a matter of time before studies start to pop up and become more accessible to you. But until then, I think that it is important to take note of what is actually happening, to see the information that people are coming forward with, and to understand ultimately that there are more proven educational shows, apps, anything that you want to do with a screen. You can find better solutions for your children. In fact, in my last video, there are so many other comments and other suggestions for what shows your kids could be watching. Some of those shows my kids watch too, and I would stand by them. And if you want a more detailed list of the things that I do allow my children to watch and the reasons why, stay tuned, because in another video I will be going through a list of the things that my kids watch and the reasons why we allow them to watch them. But until next time, here are some really cool Couch Mom Club videos for you to enjoy. And don't forget to join the club. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Follow me on all your favorite social media accounts, and don't forget to check out the merch. The links will be in the description right below the like button. And now it's time to get off the couch and into life.